Hey guys, Hugh Shang here. Today we're going to be talking about reading your Zerg opponent as a Terran player. So by the end of this guide, you should be in a position where you know exactly which build the Zerg is going to be doing right before they wreck you with it. Alright, let's get into the guide. So we're going to be breaking up this guide into 3 key periods of scouting. The first period, we're going to be using our SCV Scout. So we'll be using this SCV to identify the timing of the pool, the timing of the hatchery, and then we'll be using this info to determine, where to place our units and how to posture in the early game. And we'll be talking about, when to send this SCV and what you're looking for in a little bit. In the second phase, we're going to be using our Reaper. So the Reaper, well, at this point, we're going to have a good idea of what Zerg is doing. So the Reaper is going to be this follow-up scout that kind of confirms some of our suspicions, maybe sees some key tech buildings, and we'll be discussing those as well in a second. And then in the last phase, we're going to be using our Hellions in conjunction with the Reaper. And so this is going to be used if you're facing maybe a very good Zerg player that's masked their plans well by making it look like a macro build. And this will be, a last resort. If everything looks normal, but then you move out with your Hellions in a specific way, you're going to be able to catch the Lings or the Roaches before they reach your base. So against Zerg, the earliest you want to be scouting is right after your barracks completes. So you can just grab this guy that's building the barracks and rally him to the Zerg opponent. And you don't really need to scout earlier than this. In the other matchups like TVT and against Protoss, you might want to scout earlier, but against Zerg, it's totally fine to be doing the rack scout. And the reason is we're basically going to use this to determine whether it's okay if to send out a Reaper or to leave it at home. So as long as this SCV arrives at the second base by the time our Reaper is complete, then that's as early as it needs to be. So right here you can see that my SCV has arrived. It can see that the hatchery is almost complete. This means that they've opened hatch first. So if you see the hatchery just completing as you get there with the SCV, then that's normal and you're pretty safe. And you can see that my Reaper is just popping, right as I see this. So if for some reason, their hatchery wasn't complete like this, and maybe it's only 2/3 done or 3/4 done, then they're doing some sort of early pool. So in that case, you want to grab your Reaper as it comes out and then just leave it at home. Maybe patrol it right here and defend whatever early Lings are coming. And then, once you're safe later on, we can continue with this scout. But this SCV is going to give us that info whether we can send this Reaper out or not. And then once you get that info, you can either send this SCV home. So this guy's kind of done his job. But if you want to be super annoying, you can also block the Zerg's third base. So you can come over here. I think the best thing you can build is a bunker, because you can put your Reaper inside. You can salvage it later. So it's like a super cheap way to be really annoying to Zerg players, especially on maps where it's not realistic to take this other third. So probably this map, it's not as annoying, but still pretty annoying for Zerg. If you played Zerg, you'll understand how frustrating this is. But just an idea. So you can either send it home, block the third, and then that's it for the Reaper, or the SCV rather. So the second scout is going to be your Reaper. So you're going to bring this guy across. That SCV can stay down there if you want until the hatchery goes down. But realistically, you can just use the Reaper for that as well. So Reaper comes in here as long as it's a hatch first. And you can just poke around, see what they're up to. But really the Reaper is not here for this job. It's here for a later job at around 3:30. So if I speed up the game, I actually know this guy already expanded. So you can be annoying and clear their creep a little bit if you want. But the real job is to scout them if they have no third base at like 3:30. So if we jump forward a little bit, maybe I'm playing a little bit YOLO this game. But if they only had 2 bases, 3:30 you'd want to jump in here and just see if they have a layer and see if they have no layer. And if they don't have a layer, then it's more likely that they're doing some sort of roach all-in or baneling all-in. So the lack of a layer is going to be a huge red flag. So see if you can spot that, and then you can also run around their mineral line. This guy has a pool, so it'll be a little harder, but run around here and see if there's any baneling nest or roach warren. And that's pretty much the Reaper's job. So if it can die if it happens, it's not a big deal. But since this guy has 3 bases, we don't really need to look for this. So it's only if they're on 2 bases that you can sack the Reaper. In this case, we can just bring him home. We're not really too worried about anything. That 3rd base costs quite a bit, so if he does do some sort of all-in, it's going to be a little bit delayed. And so we can just use the Hellions to look around. So normally I move out with 2 and then I leave 2 back at home. But this game looks like I'm moving out with 4. And then you kind of want to scan a little bit. So you could run over here and come into the 3rd, but that leaves you a little bit vulnerable, because if they are going for some sort of roach attack or some sort of Ling Bane all-in, then they are going to be walking across the middle of the map, most likely. That's the fastest route. So your Hellions want to come through here and just see if there's a bunch of units on the way. And then if there's not, you're pretty okay to go through with your harass. You can see I have 2 more Hellions coming. The Liberator. This is the guide I did on the Hellion Liberator opening TVZ. If you want to check out that guide, it should be a couple weeks ago. Okay, so now we kind of realize we're safe. There's no roaches on the way. There's no Ling Bane all in, so we can just progress into the mid game like normal. So this first example I want to show you guys is a game between Kier and Lambo. And here we see Kier doing the Rack Scout. Kier is pretty known for being super safe. So he's definitely a guy you want to follow if you're going to play ladder. You might see some other guys like Future or Maru. These guys always or often skip the scout. So you want to be careful if you're following people like them. They're always cutting some corners, which is pretty strategic, and it's okay at the high level. But for ladder players, you definitely want to be doing this scout. And so immediately, Kier already knows that this is an early pool. And then we're going to check the timing of the hatch. So as we can see here, it's not quite as far along as a hatch first would be. Hatch first would look more like this, just finishing up. And so we can tell that this is an early pool, but maybe not as early as something that's super 1 base all in. So this is a pool first, but not super all in, or not necessarily super all in. So we can just head home with the SCV. And then if I go back over here, you'll notice that Kier is leaving his Reaper at home temporarily, just in case there's some sort of Ling run by. If you want, you can also leave your SCV over here to get verification of the 3rd. But as we can see, Kier is going to do that in a second with the Reaper. So we know it's 1717. Nothing's really arrived. Our factory's almost done. We still have the Marine at home, as long as you've opened racks first. And so this Reaper is free to go scout after a little bit. And in this case, we're looking for, what is the follow-up? Are they doing some sort of all-in here, or are they just kind of faking an all-in and going for a macro play? So we come in here as Kier, we see a queen. We're going to back up, go over to the 3rd base, and just see, like, if this isn't down, then it could be some sort of huge cheese. It could also be some sort of very fast tech play. So by seeing this 3rd base, we've confirmed that it's not either of those. And so we can just go home, get our Hellions, or in this case, I suppose Kier is going into some Marines, some other kind of build. But whatever build you're doing, you can continue and not worry about these fast tech plays or all-ins. Alright, let's check out another replay. So here I have another example for you guys. This is a game I played on ladder right before doing this video. So here we are doing the Rack Scout. And I want you guys to think along while we do this one. So I'm not going to give too much commentary, but just try to remember it back to what you should expect to see here. And what build is Zerg opening up with right now. And if you can identify that this is a hatch first, that's good. So we know we're safe here. And this means that we can send out a Reaper. So if we go back to my base, we can see the Reaper coming out. This is totally fine. There's no lings on the way for sure. And now with this scout, you want to think about, what are we going to look for with this? What do we need to identify with this Reaper to make sure that we are safe from an all-in? So here you can see me angling this scout. So we're looking for the third base. Make sure you're looking for that. If you don't see that, that could be an indication you're getting all in. So all this looks normal. He's getting his queens, he's making drones, he's got the third. So from here we can just go into our Hellion Scout without too much worry. So let me fast forward to that. This is our last scout, phase 3 of the scout. So we're going with a Hellion Liberator build this game. Let's see if we can follow these guys. So your Hellions come across the map. What are we looking for with these guys? What are our Hellions doing? These are the thoughts you want to be thinking. So we poke up this ramp, we see a queen or two. And harass them a little bit. Try not to lose any Hellion health. And then here I'm just pulling them back because I'm doing something else at the same time. So I'm trying to preserve my attention properly by moving these guys away when I'm not looking at them. And then when I have more attention, I move them back. But what do we see? Probably like 15 Zerglings. So is this normal? Definitely not. So we move these guys back. And at home, we had our Hellions rallied to this depot, so that if there was some sort of counterattack, Hellion or a Ling counterattack like this, we would be able to defend. So here you can see a fairly easy cleanup of these Lings. But if you don't have this setup, this can be an extremely hard build to deal with. So I mean, it looks easy here because I'm ready for it, but I've definitely lost to my fair share of Ling run-bys if you have all your Hellions out on the map. So yeah, so this has been a example number 2. If you guys like this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And we're gonna have one more section here actually. We're gonna do a quiz. So hopefully you guys were paying attention during the video and you do well.